when you guys start recording hours for your associates, for sure, you definitely want to keep, all of those hours specifically and have a good, whatever system you guys use
Right.
to keep track. Because you'll keep track of the client facing hours, obviously, and then the non-client facing hours. So basically, anytime you're in the room with the client, that's face to face. Anything else that you do that is therapy or client related is considered, non-direct, those other 1,500 non-direct hours. So that could be
Does
almost
this
anything.
does a supervisor need to sign the indirect like y'all authorize for us?
So so when you so when you guys turn in all your hours, it should have like everything on there, right? Like
Yes,
your direct and indirect, and your site
correct.
supervisor sign whoever that is signs that,
Right.
and it's for us. So when you start getting when you go to your associate license and start getting your hours, whoever your supervisor is, they'll sign off.
They will sign off on our
Yeah,
indirect also.
they'll sign off on everything because you're practicing under their license
Ah, I gotcha.
until you get enough hours. Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
I have a
It'll
Okay.
make it
question.
it'll make a lot more sense when you kind of
Can I
start.
ask can I ask a question really quick?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering on the indirect hours versus direct hours once we get our associates.
Hmm.
Um, if you're working with clients but you make regular parent phone calls, are those considered indirect the time you're
Those
on?
those are indirect.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you're in the room with the client.
Okay. Or I mean you can do it if you're online as well, correct? Like on
Hmm.
Zoom. Okay.
Hmm.
I had a
Yeah.
question, Dr.
Like
Barrett.
it like this is indirect, right? So this you get 40 hours for these classes. So this is indirect hours, basically. Yeah. Yes, Sarah.
I had a question. Yes, for your supervision hours, you don't count that into your hours when we're turning in our total practicum hours, right?
You
But we
count
still
every
log
single
them.
thing. You count everything.
Supervision? Because I thought
Everything.
Dr. Johnson said we
No,
don't.
you
Okay.
you count everything.
Okay, so you count the
Everything.
supervision. Okay.
That's right.
And then
Every
when we do our LPCA, do we also count our supervision hours
You
when
have
we're
to because you have
collecting
to
that
get
too?
X amount of supervision, right? For
Right.
so you have to count that too. You count
Okay.
every single thing. You can't
Yeah.
you can't
Supervision goes
over
into indirect hours. That's
yes,
all.
correct.
Okay.
You can't overcount. It won't be possible. You can't overcount. Like you'll count everything you do. If you read a book, if you go to a conference, if you call a parent or, you know, go to supervision, you take another class. And you guys will see when you go on this is what I was kind of saying all along. You guys go on the site and start reading through the requirements. You'll see, they've gotten really good, I think, at kind of laying out what you need. And your supervisor will know, um,
I mean, I guess my
will know
question
too.
is if we only need 300 hours to graduate, do we still need to, like, if we had like 450 hours, do we still log in that many? I mean, I'm just wondering, like, do you
You,
just want to go ahead and put everything down? Because what we really need is just 300 hours, right? So I
right.
don't know. Like, what would that spill over to? Like, can we count it somewhere else later on or?
No, and that's what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
I didn't know this until today. I had a conversation with someone that was at the last board meeting last night. There was a discussion about counting for associates to count practicum hours, which they used to do up until about 7 years ago. They got rid of that, and uh, there's not even a suggestion that they do that again. So right now, there's not even it would take a lot. It would take a lot for them to start doing that again. So I wouldn't count on them
But
doing
why would
that.
they stop? Why would they stop that when it's something that's beneficial to, it almost feels like it was easier back then than it is now to get a license.
I have no idea.
And so I would think there's enough people that could advocate for that, that it could theoretically get changed.
Yeah, I have
But
no
you're
idea.
saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's above my pay grade.
I listened to y'all's video last week. Thank you for recording that. Um, I took the exam yesterday and it was so hard. I studied a lot. I used Rosenthal, and I also used the yellow book Momet trick or whatever it's called. And what was so disappointing was that, you learn so much information and almost none of it's on there. I was like in shock, like, what is going on here? And I will tell you the weirdest thing, I felt like there was a bigger percent of the questions on mine had to do with group counseling. And if I wasn't so proficient in that, because I had done group counseling a long time ago, I don't mean the class, but I mean literally in group counseling, that I don't know that I would have been able to pull it off. I mean, thank God I passed it, but I am telling you, when I got done, I literally cried. I was so stressed out. So I thought it was interesting watching the recording. And Christy, you're so sweet because you're like, oh, it's easy. Don't worry about it. I was like, what? Oh my gosh. I mean, it was tough. And then the other two people that are in this class, I don't know if they're on here right now, but two girlfriends of mine who also have taken it. I mean, we have our own little side chat and we were like, oh, I cried too. But you know what I'm saying? So I guess my thing is if you haven't taken the test, you really do need to prepare. I mean, it was not a snap. And I'm only saying, and I have good grades. So it's not like I was slouching on something. It's a bigger deal, I think, than so I'm giving a heads up because I would hate for somebody to kind of like under prepare and then just be shocked. So it was tough as far as I'm concerned.
Anybody else taking it soon?
I took it Saturday. I thought the CPCE was actually harder. That was the test where I felt like Donna, like I didn't know anything, but I felt the NCE, which of course there are different versions, so we could have had different versions of the test also, but I felt the NCE I finished it in like an hour and a half.
Wow. I had to read every question repeatedly saying, what are they asking me? And I took mine, because I waited so long to register, I couldn't get anything nearby. I had to drive all the way out to Hearst to take mine. And it wasn't it was a Pearson place, but it wasn't really Pearson. It was like a offshoot, like, I don't know. But anyway, all I can say is I am so thankful it's over. But I'm glad you had a good experience. And I'm glad, Christy, where did y'all take y'all's?
I took mine over at Midway in Carrollton, Midway and George Bush. But here's what I think. Like if you're used to taking a test and getting like a 95 and missing 4 or 5 questions,
Ah,
you're not going to take this test like that. You have to know you're going to miss a bunch of questions and still pass. So I think knowing that going in, like that mentality, you're not going to be able to get every question right. Do you think it was good to prepare? I agree with you that there is, just for those of you who haven't taken yet, so I don't want you to freak out. There's you study a lot of material that's not on it. And mine was really slanted towards 1 or 2 theories. So we did not have the same one because I didn't have a lot of group counseling questions on mine. I didn't feel like, but and I was glad that I had studied as much as I had because I knew those.
right.
But then 90% of what I studied isn't on it.
Yeah.
So there's
that
a
is the
lot.
truth.
I just it felt a lot easier than the CPCE to me. The CPCE, with you, Eric, I was like, good gracious, this is like. I mean, I was looking up questions on the CPC afterwards and couldn't find the answer on the internet anywhere. Like even after I took it, I couldn't find what the right answer was looking it up. I didn't feel like there was anything on the NCE like that. I felt like there was everything I could have like found what it meant and what it was. So it was clearer to me.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And you're probably right. I mean, I am like a personality type. So expecting that I was going to see questions on everything that I studied, and I thought, whoa, I've learned this stuff, and then to not see it and to have other questions that I'm like, what is this stuff and who cares? I mean, some of it was just so, but anyway, maybe I just had a totally different exam, like you're saying.
Yeah, you used to go in just thinking I only have to get like 68% right.
See, I didn't think that.
Yeah.
I
If you're
thought,
going in trying to think I want to get a 95%. Yeah. Then maybe you're stressed, but you don't need that to pass it. I have a question, Dr. Bedard, about the process. What I was looking at today on the website on how to get your licensure, it seems to indicate that you have to have a supervisor in place before you apply for it. Am I reading that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay, so does that mean like, because right now I'm not going to stay where my practicum was. I thought I was, but I'm trying to do something different. So I can't really apply because I'm hoping that maybe I get on working somewhere where they're going to give me a supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
So do you go ahead and look for a job and then apply for the license? Like how do you do that timing? Or should I just find a supervisor knowing I might not keep them? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really up to you. You can do it however you want. You can always change supervisors too. It's not hard to change, but in order for you to have your associate license, you have to have a supervisor because your practice underneath that supervisor's license. That's the reason why you have to have one. So if you said I'm going to change sites, so I'm going to go ahead and just find a supervisor no matter what, that's fine. Or if you wanted to wait and see if the site provided supervision, then you could just wait on your application and and then you would have a supervisor to put on your application. So it's really kind of up to you. I realize that's a great non-answer, but that's how it works. You have to have a supervisor in order to get your associate license.
Okay, so do some people just do private practice right off the bat and not? I'm trying to weigh what I want to do and how to, and talking last week and hearing all the stuff about that from you. Because then I would definitely have to get a supervisor on my own and find one. But I mean, it's just kind of hard because, like, if you're applying, they say, "Oh, do you have your LPCA?" And you're like, "Well, I haven't submitted it yet because I'm waiting to get a job 1st." Will that be a negative? Because you know what I mean? Even though I don't know.
is that why people sign up for the third level of the practicum? Because then we're under your umbrella?
Well, people sign up to extended prac while they're waiting on their license if they want to keep seeing clients. If you don't want to keep seeing clients, if you don't care about that, then you don't have to take extended
But
prac.
for Christy's question,
No, I wouldn't want to do extended prac because I don't have any clients right now.
Yeah.
I want to go find a job. And if I get a supervisor with the job, I don't want to hire one that I pay out of my own pocket. But when I was looking at the license, so I thought, well, I'll get my license and then I'll get my resume out there. But now because I thought I have time between now and Christmas, I'll get my resume out in January. But now I'm thinking, oh, I have to have a supervisor. Maybe I need to get my resume out first, find the job, and then apply. So I'm just trying to decide what order to do it in.
Yeah. I wish I could tell you what to do, but it's really it's going to be up to you to decide kind of what you want to do. I will say this, that there's plenty of places that will hire people knowing they're going to get their associate license. There's plenty of people because the reason is, and I talked about this last week a little bit, they don't have to pay you as much and they'll work you to death because you're trying to get your hours. So it kind of makes business sense for them to get someone that's waiting on their associate license. And so if someone doesn't hire you because you don't have it yet, you probably don't want to work there anyway. I don't think personally.
Okay.
'Cause there's plenty of places that'll hire you while you wait for it. And the wait time's actually not very long right now. I don't think it's like 4 weeks maybe.
Okay.
So, and that's not long. That sounds like a long time, but it used to be 6, 8, 9 weeks. I mean, we used to wait a long time, and now it's much quicker. So, but if you just wanted to go get a supervisor, you could probably find a supervisor tomorrow, probably.
Right.
Yeah. That's probably not an answer, but it's.
So a question about the supervisors, because you have to pay them, I know, to review your cases, but you still have to pay a supervisor even if you're not seeing clients, correct?
So when you have a supervisor, you are paying them to practice under their license, right?
Right.
So when you start seeing clients and you start meeting with them regularly for the length of your associate license, and their fees vary, based on whatever they decide. And if you want to change supervisors, you can, because some facilities might offer supervision that's part of your pay, let's say, or just
Right.
part of the process. So it's
But what you're saying, that scenario implies they are bringing the clients, there's an interaction that they're providing the clients for you and they're supervising over those, right? Because I
they're
know
not.
of some, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know that there are scenarios where you can actually, it's almost they've made a business out of it. And so they are hiring people, or you are requesting for them to be your supervisor, and their business model is you can actually bring your own clients. So they're almost like an umbrella, if you will. It's not that you're seeing anybody under their practice. It's no one that's coming through their door. You're bringing your
Correct.
own in.
Correct. Yeah. There's multiple ways to do it. If you have a
Okay.
supervisor, like Christy was asking just now, she can go find a supervisor that doesn't have anything to do with a facility she works at or a practice.
Okay, good. That's good to know. That's what I thought.
Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with it.
But you still pay them,
still
obviously,
always pay.
because you're under their license.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
It just makes more financial sense to use the facility that offers supervision. I mean, financially, it just makes more, because you're going to pay these folks for at least 18 months, maybe 2 years. So
Yep.
yeah,
That makes sense.
and you might pay them $100 a month. You might pay 200. I don't, they all charge something different. So yeah. Does that help, Chrissy? Does that answer your question?
It does. This is a really random question, but do you know off the top of your head, I'm trying to find something that I could probably work nights or weekends, or work from home. Do you have this is a great kind of place to look? Not specifics, but
Well, any hotline.
Okay.
Any hotline. Most facilities always need a 24. So think about it, 24-hour facilities, 24-hour clinics that are open all the time. They always need people at night or weekends. Certain treatment facilities always maybe have weird hours, off hours. Any of those places. A private practice is probably not going to do that, because they're going to have a little more regular hours.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people have been having a little bit of luck on Indeed recently, like just kind of looking around at different places that are available. But that's where I would start. Any center, crisis center, hotline, clinics that are 24/7, treatment facilities, those most of the time. And you'll get a lot of hours too. You'll
Right.
get a ton of hours doing that too. And that's what I would say. Those are
Okay.
usually the best bet for off hours, and they're always looking for people. And you get paid more if you work on the weekend or at night.
Okay.
Usually.
Christy, I know that Let's Talk Counseling. Remember the people who came on with Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
They just their thing is they need a minimum of 6 months, but they basically give you the keys. I mean, they get you all settled in and everything, and then part of the supervision is included as being a part of their practice. But they Sam is there. I forget Sam's last name, but she was a student at Amberton too, and I know that if you stay late with clients, they just give you the keys and everything. And if you wanted to do weekend, I mean, they're all for it. So maybe you can, I don't know how to do the side chat thing, but I could give you my phone number. We can talk offline if you want. They are a great place. I
Okay,
was really happy there.
thanks.
That might work for you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? I'm going to send this in a message too. I'm going to turn the grades in next Friday. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm telling you the right thing.
Yes,
A week from Friday. So next
I
Friday
have a
is
question, but it's about the test.
okay. Let me finish 1 second, and then we'll go right back to it. Just FYI, if you haven't turned in everything, I'm going to turn the grades in on Friday. I really like to get everything, as soon as we can. I've got pretty much everybody's stuff. I know that I've talked to a couple of people, or at least I've seen some messages about waiting on signatures and things like that. That's fine. I'm trying to turn the grades in so you guys get get your transcripts as quick as you can. So I'm trying to like get everything done for you so we can move the process along. Um, so I try to get that done by graduation, which is a week from Friday. I think I'm saying that right. Is this right? Am I saying this right? It's a week from Friday. I think graduation is on the 22nd.
That Friday. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have all the grades in by then. So if you guys could just get everything in by then, that's great. And I'll send this in a message too to everyone. But someone had a question. I did not see who it was. Had a question about the
Oh,
exam.
it's me. It's Chandonay. I'm driving, so that's why my camera's not on.
That's
But
okay.
so in order to get the test dates, I need to go on the website and pay first, correct?
Right.
For those. Okay. And then when you pick your test dates, is it like a wide range of dates? Or do you have to pick in a certain time frame? And so that's the reason why I'm scared to go pay, because I don't want them to make me pick an early date and I feel like I'm not prepared yet. So I just wanted someone to tell me, like, what is the time frame and the ranges of the dates that they offer.
I'll let
I
you
mean,
guys answer that.
you can pretty much pick your date. Like, I think I got on in August and I picked mid-October. So, I mean,
Okay.
but if you get on, if you get on now and you want to get a test in the next couple of weeks, you won't be able to get it because it's a kind, but if you get on every day, every now and then somebody will cancel and you might be able to get a random slot. But
Unless you're willing to drive, like
yeah,
Donna was saying. I mean, if you're
I
willing to
did.
drive, you could
It was
probably find something.
it was an hour
Okay.
drive. You're better off, just like Christy said, to go on and grab it. And you can look way out. You don't, if you say, because Dr. Johnson really gave super advice when he said, study 2 months, then take the test. Boom. And it's the truth. I mean, at that point, you either know it or you don't. And so,
Okay.
and so do that. And I mean, I didn't mean to scare y'all, but mine was a rough experience. And so, a lot of it could have been my own going in there with the wrong mindset that I thought everything I studied, I was going to see it on the test, and I saw none of it, and I was discouraged. So, but like Christy said, I would go on and grab your date far enough out. And but the benefit in doing that is you can get something close to you. I had to drive so far to get to mine because I waited too long.
Okay. Now, do
That's
You get
you
on
have to book a date right away?
You do have to grab your date.
Okay.
But
you
the
can
good
change
news
it.
is
You
if
can
you go
reschedule with
look
no penalty though.
Oh,
exactly,
okay.
there you go.
Okay.
Once you
Okay,
pay,
great.
they just want your money. They just want your money. Once you pay the
Okay,
money,
great.
then you're in. Yeah, they just want money.
and get on Pearson, right?
It's the yeah,
Is
there's
it the
the
get?
website's on the state site. You can see it. You'll see it there. There's a link.
It's actually if you saved all of your stuff from the CPCE, all of your login stuff, it's going to have you recreate that gateway unless you still have it, and then it's easier
Yeah.
if you know what I'm saying.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, any other questions about any of those things? Anything? Okay. Okay. So I want to talk about, we're only going to really do one thing tonight. It's going to take, I don't know, half an hour or so. Uh, and um, whenever, whenever you guys start taking this class, when you start the practicum process, you're winding down your heavy academic work and starting into clinical work. And then now that you're kind of, unless you're an LMFT, you kind of keep going practicum wise, but you're still really kind of winding down your time at Amberton, and you're starting to, transition into um, a kind of a new world um, that I just want to talk about for a second. And one of the things that uh, I have started doing with all the classes I've taught, I've started doing this for the past like 3 or 4 years, actually before COVID, um, 4 or 5 years, is put kind of a mile marker down here for you guys to have, because it's really an accomplishment, and the truth is it's actually a set of several accomplishments that have gotten you to where you are. And I think one of the things that I notice in my practice and just with people in general, and um, I think we don't often take time to look back at things we've accomplished enough. We know that we've done them, we know that we have accomplished things, but we're, as a people, most of the time more apt to look back and see where we failed or where we need to do better, or things that need to change, which is not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think we need a little bit of um, balance there to also look at things that things we've done well and things we've accomplished. And so I am going to ask that, and I know some people might be driving or in a different spot. If you're able to do this, either with your phone typing or write it down, I'd love for you to grab something to write on. You can type it. I don't really care how you do it, but this is an activity I'm going to do with everyone. Uh, that again will take about a half an hour, and I'm going to walk you through it, and um, it's going to really focus on kind of two parts. The first part is kind of reflecting, and then the second part is like moving forward. So um, what I'd like for you to do, if you can, is at the top of your page or on your phone or on your computer, whatever you're using. I just want you to write as close to the date, maybe it's just the year that you started at Amberton. And for that's going to be different for everybody. And I'm not looking for, if you know the actual date, that's awesome. But just the year's even good. Um, and what I'd like for you to do is, again, I know that this date is different for everybody. So some people are going to have a longer set of, a longer time than others. What I'd love for you to do is to list everything that you can think of that has occurred in your life from that date until now, till today. So that could be anything. Could be people were born, could be you met someone, could be something ended, could be a death in the family, it could be, you know, it could be good things, bad things, just anything that you can remember. And I'm not looking for an exhaustive list, just kind of more like a brainstorm. And I'm going to kind of be quiet for a second and let you write those things. So these are just events that have occurred. If you started before COVID, obviously COVID would be an event. I'll give you a couple more minutes. Now, as we finish that up, and I realize that you could keep going because usually what happens is we think of other things when we start writing, and that's okay. But I really want to start focusing on something specific. So either beside that list, if you just made a list, or below it, however you want to do it. I want you to write down all the accomplishments that you've had, things you completed, things you've accomplished, things you've done that you could actually point to it, and it's in black and white. You could give evidence for it. I took and passed my first class. I passed the exam. I mean, or it could be personal things that you've actually accomplished in that same amount of time. And again, it's not going to be exhaustive, and that's okay. But I want you to list everything that you've actually accomplished. And again, the criteria is very simple. You could point to it and give evidence that you actually accomplished it. We'll do a couple more minutes. Okay. I want you to look at the first list and just, you know, circle maybe some of the things that were hard, the things that maybe you struggled with or were hard to deal with, or you found that were difficult. And just pick two or three of those. And I want you to do the same with the accomplishments, except those are the ones, I want you to circle the ones that are like, I'm really, like I would tell people about this one. Like I would tell everyone about this accomplishment. So two or three of those as well. And when you've done that, I'm going to give you a sentence to write. It's short, it's not long. It's very simple. And it goes, in spite of whatever that hard thing was that happened, I still accomplished whatever that accomplishment you're proud of. So you're going to fill in the blank there. In spite of this, whatever that hard thing that happened, I was able to accomplish whatever it is that you would brag about accomplishment wise. And you might want to write that down more than one time. And we're going to do two more things. One of these is going to be in groups. I'm going to put you guys in groups, kind of small groups, for about, I don't know, just a few minutes. And it's going to be pretty straightforward in terms of discussion. But what I want you to talk about is, if you look at these lists and kind of as you reflect, I want you to be talking about what you've learned about yourself. Like, these are the things that I think I learned about myself during this time. And I'd like you to brag on yourself a little bit and just, if you feel comfortable, tell each other what your favorite accomplishment is. It might be more than one, but I want you to say those out loud to other people. Okay. So I'm going to put you guys in groups. I'll leave in there for 6 or 7, 8 minutes, something like that. Let me see. So again, this is what I've learned about myself, and this is my favorite accomplishment. And you should be able to join those now. All right. Sorry if I cut anybody off. I like seeing the videos. I know y'all don't want to turn your videos on, but I like seeing everybody. So I'd love to hear anyone that would, you don't have to share, but I'd love to hear any of you share, like, either what you've learned or your favorite accomplishment, or I'd love to hear that from you if you feel like it, but there's no pressure to do that.
I personally think Amberton has great staff and great professors, and I really don't think I'd be here without the support, the kindness, the compassion, because I really started off thinking I wasn't going to finish. I just enjoyed taking the classes, and I didn't see it to be where I am now. So I really do appreciate you, Dr. Bedard and Dr. Johnston, and so on and so on. Just great people here. And if I could take more degrees here, I would, but I think I'm done. But I really did enjoy it. So I just want to say that.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm going to put this back on you. I want to know from y'all what your favorite accomplishment or what you learned about yourself. So I'm going to make you be selfish and want you to talk about yourself a little bit. But I appreciate the comment. I really do.
I will share. This is a personal statement. Just going through this program, I learned a lot about myself. Again, being transparent, I was a victim of childhood grooming and childhood sexual abuse. And going through this program, it has allowed me to understand what I went through, because for the longest, I just kind of pushed all that behind myself. And this year specifically, I was able to, speak out about, be able to address what happened. So to me, that is a big accomplishment, because for the last 2 years, I've been dealing with it and I never said anything. And so this year, I really spoke up for myself. And so that's a big accomplishment for me. It's not, something I could say I paid off or did that, but that's because of this program and me going through this program and understanding mental health and, the things that we go through as survivors. It allowed me to be able to do that and share my story. And hopefully, I can be an advocate one day for, sexual abuse victims. So I wanted to share that.
That's a tremendous accomplishment.
Yeah.
Just to talk about it. I'm so glad that's happened for you.
That's awesome.
Hey, Dr. Bedard, do you want me to share as far as my experience with my practice, my psych practice, a little bit as far as what transpired briefly, and then just, as far as being able to overcome what I didn't think I would be able to overcome to graduate?
I want you to share a favorite accomplishment that you've had.
Favorite accomplishment. I would just say the classes, just like having like the different professors or the different instructors. Obviously, you guys are all different. You guys aren't the same, but just being able to have those different, I guess, characteristics or whatnot for each individual, I believe that that's going to help me in my practice, just because if I'm going to be dealing with, or we all are going to be dealing with like different people, whether it's different races, cultures or whatnot. So I think that's going to help me, with being able to, deal with those type of individuals, or different individuals, I should say, if that makes sense. So I would say that's probably the greatest accomplishment is that.
I'll go ahead and go. Thank you for sharing, James, and the lady that went before. That was nice to hear what y'all have gone through. I told my smaller group, in spite of my mom's death and just other changes in our family dynamics and whatnot, just the fact that I was able to accomplish finishing this up second career, and it was actually coming back after I had a career before, and then I stopped that so that I could be a stay-at-home mom. And so being able to get back into the school and accomplish this, and I'll say passing that NCAE yesterday was huge. I think about it and I still want to cry, but making it through all of that and balancing my family, and God bless my husband for putting up with me and all my crap. But I think what I learned about myself, and I really didn't even notice it until you had us think about this, Dr. Bedard, is that even though all of that was important, some of it's not. Like at the end of the day, none of that is really important. It's important, but I think I placed too much emphasis on it and it was too big of a deal. And I'll tell you, going through all of these classes created such an awareness of, wow, I still need to work on that, or, oh, I didn't know that. And so going through all of these classes gave me such a self-awareness more than I had before. And I got a lot of work still to do, but, you know, I just, I think keeping everything in perspective and realizing that some things are really not that big of a deal, other than the people in your life and the people that you love and the people that you're going on this life journey with. That's what's important. So anyway, that's what I have.
Yeah. It's good to have perspective. That helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good.
I wanted to first just say thank you so much for this assignment, because this is not what I was expecting tonight. And it's exactly what I needed, because about a month ago, we had a family crisis, and I was working at my practicum and had planned to stay there and had this whole great plan in place, and it all kind of got shot in the air, and I need to be home with my daughter for a while. And that's why I was asking about the nights and the weekends. I think when you had us write through all the things, I started in June of 2020. So very slow process. But I was looking at all the things that have happened, and it reminded me of, like, gosh, I can do hard things. I've done a lot of hard things, and this is just one more hard thing being thrown at me. But because I'm here at the finish line, I was super excited. I loved my job. But it's just not going to work out, and that's okay. And like, this was just so helpful to remind me, like, to look at, I can do hard things. I can keep doing hard things. God has a different plan, and it will work. So I think it just gave me like that. I don't know, whatever I needed. I didn't expect this tonight. And second, I want to say, because I'm 99% sure that you were the professor that did this, and I used it in groups, everything I did. Didn't you have us write down 5 feelings? And then you did a whole class. Okay, it was you. Okay, so I was thinking it was you. I use this all the time in groups, and I think of it all the time. I remember how for those of you who don't know, like, he had us write down 5 feelings at the beginning of a Zoom class. And at the end of the Zoom class, we looked back at the feelings and we circled the ones that we weren't. And it just showed you how your feelings change and we weren't feeling them anymore. That has stayed with me, and I've used that so much. So thank you for that assignment, and thank you for this one tonight.
Thank you. We can 100% do 10 times what we think we can. For sure. Yeah, for sure.
I'll go ahead and talk. Reflecting and listening to everybody, I think the biggest accomplishment that I have by the end of this year was, or end of this graduation time, is a change of perspective, and knowing that I can do hard things, like was said earlier. There were a couple of times where things got hard. I have 3 kids, and I went through a death as well. My father passed, and there were just certain things that I thought, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to need to just stop. And, through support of my family and my faith, and just, Amberton is very supportive as well. Got through it, and I'm grateful for it. And I also didn't think that I could accomplish I guess I kind of put my counseling area in a box, and realized that it didn't have to be in a box. And so it's really cool. I'm getting to do equine assisted counseling, which has always been a passion of mine. Horses they were a big part of my healing and process when I was a child. And so it's really cool that I could include that in counseling. And it has been a great experience for me. And I just feel like I really have had some growth in that. Sorry, I'm having a son that's sneaking up right here beside me. So, hey, I'm talking right now. And so that's pretty much all I have to say. But
yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm
Okay.
glad you're getting to do that too.
Me too.
You're adorable.
Mhm. It's his bedtime,
Aw.
but
That
dad
means
is,
that's time to stall.
yeah,
It's stall time.
dad is juggling things. Okay, you're gonna need to go. No. Yeah. There's
How about a couple more? So one of the things that I think is important about what we did tonight is whatever you wrote down, like all the things you wrote down, this is yours. This is your list of things, and it's your accomplishments. So my kind of challenge to you, and I do this with my clients too. I do this a lot with a lot of clients, but my challenge would be to start keeping track of your accomplishments every week and try to do this for about 90 days and see what you notice. And the reason why I'm saying this is not because, again, not because we don't want to be mindful of when things we need to change or things we fail at or not that. Our brain will automatically go to those things. The idea is that when we look at our accomplishments, we're saying to ourselves, we've done this is something I've done. So, for example, everything that you wrote down as an accomplishment, no one could convince you that you didn't do it, including yourself, right? And sometimes we need that evidence for ourselves to realize it. And it should be evidence of I can do hard things, or hey, I can get through this, or hey, this really wasn't what I thought was going to happen, but this is what's worked out. I mean, it's just evidence of those things. And so I think I do this with pretty much every class. I've kind of had this challenge and just kind of see what happens for you. It shouldn't be too hard. You just kind of keep track of it, and I don't care if it's small stuff. It doesn't matter to me. I I don't care what it is, big or small, accomplishments or accomplishments, things that you've actually done that you can turn to and say, hey, in black and white, this is what's happened. So, and then as you transition from here to the next stage of your life, like this is just a milestone marker, right? Um, I don't, I lived in the Northeast for a long, like almost 9 years, and um, there are places in the middle of like some parks, like wilderness parks, on wilderness trails where there's just old stones stacked on top of each other with a sign saying something that happened there that happened in 1748 or whatever. In biblical times there would be God would ask his people to stack stones to represent some type of mile marker or some type of you know something that happened. I mean, people have used those kind of milestone marker to mark events for as long as we've been able to write things down. And this is just another milestone that you're marking. But the milestone isn't where you end. The milestone is also where you begin. So you're ending something and you're starting something new. And just know that look how far you've already come. There's no reason to think you can't keep going. And you're going to get your license. You're going to, or you're going to get your license. You're going to work with everyone in this room. If we add it all together, are going to work with thousands of people over X amount of years. That's thousands of lives that'll either be saved or changed or helped or moved along, or that's that's what you're going to do. Those are things you're going to do, that you're going to be a part of. So it's just helpful to kind of think about that as you move forward. And so I encourage you to, keep. I always think it's good to keep track of each other as you move forward. Network with each other as you move forward. Amberton's got we have a pretty good network of folks out there now, that are alumni that have gone through this program and that are doing great things and doing a lot of really great work. And you guys are going to do great work. And so I just encourage you to just remember that. But I appreciate everyone kind of going through this exercise. I know that it's maybe not what you thought was going to happen, but this is, I just wanted to be able to say, hey, here's the end of something and the beginning of something else. And I think that's important for everybody. So,
was
that's
very
it.
powerful. Very
Good.
powerful. Thank you for
Yeah.
stopping us to recognize that.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to take a look around us sometimes and slow down a little bit. See what we've done. So, I think that's all I was going to say. Obviously, if you have questions, you can always let me know. I'm getting a ton of emails right now, so I'm kind of slogging through them. But if I see something missing, like in the next week or so, I'll shoot you a message. Say, hey, make sure to turn this in. I've got the overwhelming majority of people, and I know some people are still waiting on some stuff to be signed too. So that's no big deal. It would help me too if you guys could just write down your total hours. That helps me tremendously, so I don't have to go through and calculate them all. That would be helpful too. But if you guys ever need anything down the road, don't hesitate to reach out. I help and talk to former students all the time. And so don't hesitate to do that. And now you can go do something else.
Thank you so much. This is bittersweet, you know?
Well, we gotta end somewhere.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
some of us still have another semester to go.
Some people have
We
another
do.
semester.
We
Yeah.
do. I'll be there.
Yeah,
Dr.
some
Bedard,
people.
can you stay on for a client
Yeah.
question?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a
Thank
good night.
you.